Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the message. First, let me give shouts out to M Johnston for coming through on the CashApp. Thank you, bro, from the bottom of my black heart and the depths of my black mind. Rest of y'all, quit playing with me. I only asked for $1 from those of you to hear this, from each of you. And I know most of you ain't going to, but let's say if a third of you did, okay, that's enough for me to add a bit more media into these things. A few more images. It will buy me some time to sit up and have some animations. I know you'll like that. Some moving pictures and stuff. The other thing too, man, y'all check this out. Oh, it's almost time already. All right, so look, y'all check this out right quick, gentlemen. Listen. I want to give a shout out to Edward Anderson and Chaos Reign. And I'm first going to address what Alan Anderson said in one of his recent uploads. His channel is not the place to go because you feel some kind of way because you don't bit gitches and that's it. It's not a place to go to learn how to bit gitches. His channel is where you go to learn how to break free of the chains of guilt that these gitches want you to feel for the outcomes that they chose. That's one thing. That's the first thing. Second thing, I want you guys to keep this in mind. You gentlemen must understand that these O's, keep this in mind about them. My channel is where you go to understand two things. Number one, it ain't your fault. Now, if you got crooked teeth and you're awkward, you still are about as bad as these broads you can't get. You're still probably even better because you have to be. You were never given a choice. You turn around and you go and you make these efforts and you're trying to impress them. Okay, your teeth are about as crooked as theirs. You might be about as socially awkward as they are. You got more pressure on you. Have they ever approached a man? Especially the ones that you like looking at? No, they never have. And simply because they've never had to, they think they should never have to. And now I got to say, you young brothers are making that, you're proving that that's not the case. See, when you do what you've been doing lately, approach less and less, then eventually all of y'all stop. That's the way you're headed. And I think y'all should make sure you continue to that particular goal. But when you do that, you reinforce that men have value. Now, I already knew men had value. I was already aware of that. Now you're reinforcing this notion while you are young, that you're not valueless, you're not worth less than the family pet. And you're saying to them, until you recognize the value, we're done. And as a matter of fact, part of that value means if I have to experience rejection in life, that's fine. You also do. You're going to have somebody tell you no. And they risk that in the job market. Don't handle that as well as we do, but they risk that in the job market and still don't get it. They keep on showing up. Have you not seen a video on I think it's P's World? Well, P shows up and says, man, look at this broad. And then this broad, I think it's his video, and she sits up and says, I got turned down for my outfit. I can't believe it. And then she shows you her outfit. It's not really workplace appropriate, especially when they don't know you like that. Yeah, this ditzy broad is sitting up here all entitled and stuff. No, ain't no reason to feel entitled. You stupid. How old are you? So you got to understand, number one, it ain't even your fault. You don't get you. Yeah, okay, that's not your fault. The second thing I want to tell you is you ain't missing out on much. That's the other thing, and I keep trying to drive this point home. What are you missing out on? Let me tell you this, and this is what my channel's for. There's a hadith attributed to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I don't know if I'm talking about Muhammad ibn Abdullah. I don't really know how ranked or how authentically it is ranked. I'm not sure, but I know that the principle is valid because I've witnessed it. And I want to state this. Before somebody can officially teach about Islam, they have to have a teacher, and they have to get an ijaza or a license, so to speak, from that teacher. leave to speak and teach Islam from that teacher. I don't have that. I have listened to teachers. I've learned from them, but I've not taken exams in their courses, and I've never applied to them for leave or permission to speak. So I'm careful about what it is that I tell you. That's why I say to you, I don't know the ranking of this hadith, but I do know that I have lived the veracity of that experience since then. And in this hadith, he said, he advised his followers, if the hadith is true, if you feel inclined to a woman not permissible to you, your wife or your concubine, remember the part of her that stinks. Gentlemen, that part is very true. These women that are always seeking attention out in public, always seeking to be seen out in public, that want men to pay attention to them, strange men they don't know, and out in public, usually neglect something. There's always something that's missing. And one of these things tends to be hygiene, because these are things that are easy to miss anyway. People with generally good hygiene can still have a funky mouth or a funky crotch because the weather's hot or because they ate something spicy. That can be the case when you're generally a clean person. Now I want you to imagine these broads that really ain't that clean and they still got high body counts. So I'm telling you what the guys who do manage to get up in them guts don't necessarily talk about, because they don't want to tell you that they out here stirring chicks' guts and they stank. Sometimes these chicks can't even get a kiss in the middle of that act because they breath funky. And dudes be sitting up here saying dumb stuff. Well, you know, punani is punani. And yeah, they'll say that, but you know, you wish that her breath wasn't that funky, and that you ain't have to smell them. You didn't have to smell guts. And add to that this. In the West, many people don't fully understand how to wipe, because nobody's telling these chicks that they ain't wiping properly. They're even less careful than you are. For you to make an approach or to go on a date or anything, man, you checking everything. You wiping with wet wipes, alcohol to disinfect, then a dry tissue to dry it out, because y'all don't have those sprays in the bathrooms over there in the West. Here we got those sprays, and then you can disinfect. They don't have it over there. So you sitting up double because you don't want nothing to be off, because you've learned you got to be perfect. Then you go on and you doing a whole oral care routine, oral hygiene routine. Man, you up here like you are flossing, using mouthwash, then you scrape your tongue. Now you might differ in the order of these things that you're doing. And these are things we should be doing anyway, but you are really taking care of your mouth. You done flossed, brushed, scraped your tongue, and then used mouthwash. And maybe added some other hydrogen peroxide to make it stronger. Then you took some gum without the sugar, so that it start eating your teeth and make it smell like something's being digested. Then you go on a date, or you go to holler at some chicks or something like that. That's what you be doing. And that's before you put on the deodorant and the cologne and all that stuff. You scrubbing your feet in the shower, making sure your feet dry off completely with powder before you put socks on. You going through all this because you done learned you have to, because they're going to pick up on everything. And you never stop to say, you know what? These broads are being too mother cuss word picky, because if we applied half the same scrutiny to them, not only would they fail, but they would turn around and blame us for them failing. That's where the problem comes in. Y'all chilling hard, man, mentally speaking. Consequently, they got you jumping through other mental hoops. But you're doing this with broads that don't even smell that good. That's your mistake. Okay, you didn't know. I'm not going to walk around beating you up about that too much. But you sold yourself short. Why would you do that? Edward Allen Anderson's channel is not to cater to youth because you don't big gitches, but my channel is to remind you, number one, you ain't really missing much, and number two, it ain't your fault you ain't bitten gitches. And that's if you were awkward and got crooked teethers. Not teethers. Don't they have them things too? Even Danica Marie made a joke about her own. I mean, she doesn't have that now, but she made a joke about her own teeth back in the day throwing up gang signs. I'm like, dang, I wouldn't have said nothing like that. That's funny though. But look, y'all, I mostly came on here to talk about Chaos Reign's video, proof that black women invented colorism, and I'm only halfway through it. I'm gonna tell y'all straight, man. I know. I don't know I don't know of any proof that they invented it, but I do know that they're generally the lifeline to it. They'll say in Haiti the men prefer lighter skinned women. Maybe they do. Obviously, the abundantly melanated women can still get somebody. But it's not like they don't prefer. I mean, somebody told me years ago how Haitian women don't want no abundantly melanated brothers as soon as a light-skinned guy walks in the room. And I've had some of them tell me about that. And a family friend of mine, nephew of my cousin's wife, I know, he and I ain't related. That's why I say family friend. But we got along well when we met. It was at a reunion, actually. He was engaged to a Haitian lady, and I was like, now listen, that's cool, man. Long as, she's treating you well, I'm glad to hear that. You do know that, did anybody tell you, though? And he said, I heard. He's half Italian himself. He said, yeah, I heard that sometimes I heard about that. Sometimes they're only into light-skinned men if they can get them. But she's pretty even keel with people in general. I said, okay, cool. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Congratulations on the engagement. And so, and he appreciated me looking out. He didn't take it as me trying to overstep, but just seeing, had you heard about that? If he heard and he knows to look out, then he's good. If it's been kept away from him, it's not his fault, but he don't know. So in any case, yeah, he knew. This is Haiti we're talking about, and the States. But I'm gonna tell y'all straight, man. I know, 100%. I know. See, when I was coming up, there was a different treatment that I got all the time. And it dawned on me. Now, sometimes as a kid, I was treated better by sisters a lot of times. That dawned on me later on. But as an adult, as a teen and as an adult, it began to dawn on me that after a while that, no, sisters ain't treating me better. They're starting to treat me worse. Some ghetto dudes were, and they were starting to outgrow that as we got into high school. And then by the time I was halfway through it, it wasn't dudes that was really the problem that much. They kind of, dudes that didn't know me might think I was soft. Eventually, they figure out, no, not really. And he ain't part of the problem either. But then later on, it'll be sisters. And that's if they liked me. They felt like they always got to test me. Felt like they always got to make sure. I remember one of them, I was walking. This broad thumped me with her truck and I was on foot. Now, she didn't hit me hard enough to do damage, but she thumped me with her truck as a joke. She knew what she was doing. I was like, what the hell are you doing, dummy? This is a truck. And she gonna laugh, keying about this stuff. She's like, but you look like Superman. This thing ain't gonna hurt you. I need to check my front bumper, see if you left a dent in it. Come on now, that was silly. She knew Mother Cusswood well. I'm not made of a Kryptonian biological parts. I let my hair grow long, and Superman in the comics at that time had long hair, which I didn't know because I wasn't looking at the comics. I didn't know about that. The Lois and Clark series was coming on TV. He didn't have long hair in that, so I didn't know where she got that from. She's gonna talk about, oh, you Superman. I looked at the front bumper of the truck. There was a dent in it actually, but I think that dent was there before. And quickly stepped off to the side before she got this idea again. Now I wasn't hurt, so I knew I couldn't have sued and gotten anything out of it. But she was stupid. She was a year behind me in the high school. And the funny thing is, when I had just a few conversations with her before, there was this chick that came up and was like, y'all talk, y'all a couple, and this other chick was trying to embarrass her. Broad named Mariana. Mariana wasn't much darker. She wasn't darker than me. Head down her back, covered her back completely. If people didn't know better, they would have thought that she was related to me, except her teeth are too big. She had big teeth at that age. Looking like Tigress Woods. But she was trying to embarrass this other chick. And this other chick eventually started talking to this dude that I knew never learned how to ride a bike. Nice guy, but he'd been a bit of a goofball growing up, but he never learned how to ride a bike. Always trying to talk bad about somebody else. Now, why did this other chick come along why did Mariana come along and try to embarrass the one I was talking to? And just in conversation. Because the rule was, you can't treat me the same way that you treat other brothers. I ain't the same and you're not allowed to treat me the same. You have to treat me differently. And it needs to be worse, because by this point they had their minds made up that anybody looking like me was going to pay for what other dudes that look like me had done. And this was later explained to me. That same school year, this was my senior year I'm talking about, at an all-black high school. This was later explained to me. Now, why I had to fight the dudes I had to fight, it was explained to me later on. If they ghetto, they think you soft. That's it. They're going to be that stupid. You not black to them, so, they can win. That's what's going through their head. But if you not ghetto, then... if they not ghetto, then they're not going to assume that you just can't scrap. You can't throw no licks. And I was explaining to me with regards to them. It was later on, as some of you have heard the story, a little bit before 9/11. I was 24, about to turn 25. I think her name was Rebecca, a sister though, not a Becky. We were sitting and I was still in training for this new position at a cell phone company. You got a few of them that had headquarters offices back in Atlanta at that time. And during a lull in work, long stretch of time, lull in work, she like, why are you taking advice from JC about women? One of the male colleagues, it's laced up with game. I was like, why not? I'm just going to tell you straight. There are things y'all want men to know, but you don't want to tell them. So what's the problem if he's going to explain it? And she said to me, well, I guess that's true. But there's more. She said, but still, like, taking advice from him. I told her, yeah, of course. And that's when she just broke it down to me. She also gave me a lot of advice. So both of them were really helpful. But that's when she became the one that told me straight up, you ain't going to be treated the same as other brothers. She started with, have you considered dating other races? I was like, I thought about it and decided no. Certainly not in the white women, but even women of other races got issues with black folks. She's like, they ain't got issues with you. Why not? Go ahead. Because sisters ain't where it's at. You are not what we're looking for. A black woman ain't going to treat you well. I was like, you know what? I can't say she lying. I had to look at it and say, dang, she right. I'm not going to be treated the same. And I actually forgave that. because I thought it was reasons of race loyalty and revolution. You know, white folk had done this, that, and the other. That's what I thought. Boy, was I stupid for thinking that. Because now we know that. So in reality, what I'm getting at is that even these dudes that were walking around with some of these colorist ideas didn't get them from their dads. The dads weren't the ones that gave it to them. I also learned that some dudes had colorist ideas, and when I sort of talked to them about that, it came out later that they didn't really believe that there was a biological link between a woman being dark-skinned and then being aggressive and knowing how to fight, but that rather it was psychological on the part of the women. They viewed themselves a particular way based on their own melanin count. So it was fighting, being aggressive. That's how they viewed themselves now. See, I can't tell them nothing. What I'm gonna tell them? Am I gonna sit up and say this is not your nature just because you dark skin? They look at me and say, "What do you know? You light skin. You don't have that same nature. What you know about my nature?" They're not gonna believe me. So I can't sit up here and tell you that colorism started with us. That we've been a lifeline to it. I know, Manosphere Hall of Fame. I don't blame you that you're gonna disagree. You may have lived somewhere where dudes openly voiced it. And I've grown up where some guys openly voiced it, but it came from their mothers, the ones I knew. It came from their mothers. And when I had chances to talk to some of them about this later on, that was when they would say, well, I don't think that they just, come out the womb, they dark skinned, so they vicious and looking for a fight. I don't think it's that way. Start off as babies like anybody, but they get older and they start thinking that's how they're supposed to be. I can't convince them. And they were right. These guys can't convince these women, and I can't convince them either. And I'm saying this before I even get through the other half of Chaos Reign's video. But y'all check them out. Check out the channel. Check out that video. Thanks for listening. As always, Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Out, Assalamu Alaikum, Black Heterosexual, Non-Select Male Power because they don't like it, a Black Patriarch until extinction of Judgment Day. Thank you for flying with us here on Jet Black Air, where the phrase Jet Black's also a verb. And I advise you all to go to the Jet Black Air Lounge and subscribe to the first class because, man, story time, the one I just posted, that was hilarious. Keep Jet Black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.